New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
New Thought Media Network proudly presents On Purpose with Reverend Beth Linguri. Wednesdays at 7 a.m. Mountain Time, 3 p.m. Central European Time. Come find purpose, nurture growth, and live your passion. And now On Purpose with Reverend Beth Linguri.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to our program today. We have a special treat in store for you. As I mentioned last week, we have invited David Serlin and his wife, Lin, to join us today to talk about this amazing book. You can see I've got all kinds of markers in it. I just love this book. It is fantastic. And I'm so delighted that David and Lin can join us. So David and Lin Serlin, please join. Hello.
Hello, Beth. Hi, Beth.
Lovely to be here.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us today. I just want to give a brief introduction from your book, David, that you have written. You were born in Middlesex, but now live in Hertfordshire. Is that correct?
Hertfordshire, yes.
Hertfordshire. Okay, I'll get these words correct. And always intrigued by the mysteries of the universe, David was an avid reader of science fiction. And this led him into to train as a spiritual healer, a positive thinking practitioner, and a licensed practitioner of science of mind, New Thought philosophy. And so we're going to talk about some of your journey today. I'll ask a few questions about your journey, how you found each other, and how you found this spiritual living. But now you have a spiritual living group there in Hertfordshire, meeting together. Are you meeting in person now?
We are indeed. And this year we celebrate our 25th anniversary since the founding of our group. We were only teenagers when we founded it, by the way. Oh, yes, we meet in person since lockdown. Yeah, we're privileged to get back into that wonderful sort of environment. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you again. And as I said, very rarely I find a book that is fun to read, really engrossing, pulls you right in from the very first paragraph, well written, and a fantastic message. So you've done a great job, David, at combining both. And I'm really so excited about the book. I hope everyone just runs out and gets a copy of it because it is a delight and you will just learn so much. So I'll share a bit of it with you today and a bit of what David and Lin have uncovered together. So there's a power for good in the universe that is greater than we are and that we can use, a power for good. So this is a statement from Ernest Holmes, and you have used this as your introduction and in your title, David. Tell me about that.
Absolutely. Well, that phrase from Ernest Holmes absolutely inspired me to think about science of mind as something that's very practical and real, and that we can use, not just the philosophy that's up there in the clouds, but something that's very immediate. And it really was sort of the inspiration for the book itself. And you've said it so beautifully. I feel quite humbled by your comments and compliments, Beth. But the purpose of the book was to create a story that told our journey, Lin and I's journey, and how we discovered these amazing teachings, but more importantly, how we use these principles in our lives, hopefully as an example to other people to say that they can do the same. We wanted it, or I certainly wanted it to be a story that people could follow, enjoy reading, a late at night in bed book with the light on. That was the idea, but something that also awakened their hunger and thirst to find out more about what Science of Mind New Thought is all about.
You have certainly accomplished that. I can vouch for that. It's definitely a great read. When I opened the first chapter, it started with a phone call A dazzling golden orb of brilliant light illuminated the faces of 4 figures, and I was just pulled in. From there on, I just couldn't stop reading. So you have done the job, and it is quite a fun read. So in the first story that you tell is about your girlfriend, Lin. Lin was a girlfriend at that point. Now
Yes.
you're the wife, and you've been working together for a number of years. Lin, could you tell us about that experience of you thought it was a yoga retreat, but?
Yeah. So I phoned up this college that we were hoping to go to, and we intended to go to a yoga retreat. But they said, well, the week that you've allocated to come is actually not a yoga week at all, but it's a spiritual awareness week. Well, I actually felt really excited about this because I have always, ever since I was a child, sensed something more than this. I was very clairvoyant and clairaudient even as a child. So I knew immediately that was an invitation to something special. And then when I spoke to David about it, I was just so enthusiastic. I said to David, well, we've taken that week. Let's go. Let's do it. And let's have a bit of excitement and adventure. Heaven knows what we're opening ourselves up to, but why not? And I felt really excited about it. And fortunately, David agreed. He said, oh, well, yeah, let's do it.
Okay, David, did you, I think you weren't, from what I gather in the book, you weren't so sure, but she was so excited you said yes.
Well, Linda, as you can see, tends to get very excited and exuberant about things, which is great. But looking back, there's a thread of invitations, which is why we subtitled the book Saying Yes to Life's Invitations, that come along, and we call them golden invitations. They are situations and opportunities that are really life-changing. And at the time we weren't aware of it, but we said yes. And finding this college and meeting the spiritual teachers there was a fundamental and profound shift in our lives. And we could see, looking back, how significant it was. So that was, I think, one of our first golden invitations that we said yes to without knowing what we were letting ourselves in for. And it was also a fantastic adventure. And in fact, our whole spiritual journey, I call it a true life spiritual adventure. It really has been so exciting. And we're sort of always wondering what's next.
That's great. Thank you. So at this college that you went the first year and then you kept going back. And what I remember was that there emerged some things that you contributed to the people who joined the attendance. Somehow your own gifts became visible and you began to contribute to it. And what was that like, David?
But we started attending this college and really got hooked by the atmosphere, and particularly by one or two of these spiritual teachers, including Gordon Higginson, who was the principal of the college, an amazing clairvoyant medium, but also a very profound spiritual teacher. And we found ourselves being invited to participate in some of his courses, and we had another golden invitation. We came back from holiday. I think we were in the Canary Islands for a couple of weeks and came back very refreshed and suntanned, and picked up a phone message from Gordon Higginson inviting us to participate in one of his very special healing weeks. Now, these were very highly esteemed courses that you had to be very experienced and knowledgeable to even be invited on. So our initial instinct was to say, well, we're fairly new to all this, and again, we heard that little voice from Spirit saying, if you receive an invitation from Spirit, you say yes. So we did say yes. We had this amazing experience, and we presented workshops on healing and meditation and positive thinking and affirmations. And it started to really buzz. And then what happened, sometime later, we went to a lecture at this college from one of the mediums, and she was talking about the subconscious mind and positive thinking. And we were fascinated. At the end of the lecture, she said to us, I can see you're interested in all this stuff. If you really want to know more about it, it's called Science of Mind. And there's a book in our library about it. And only very few of us know and understand what it's about. we keep it sort of secret, but we use the principles. And she told us an amazing story about her life had been transformed by using science of mind principles and guidance from spirit. So we understood how spiritualism, which is what this college was about, and science of mind were converging with almost identical philosophies and outreach. And we bought the book, and then I say the rest is history. Linda then discovered the one and only Science of Mind church in the UK in Bournemouth. It was led by an American minister called Reverend Rita Parr. And we made a trek down to Bournemouth on a cold and wet wintry afternoon. And we were taken by the service. It was very simple. It was very parochial. It had rings of old-fashioned religion and new-fashioned new thought. And there was something about it that resonated deeply with us. And again, we heard that voice from spirit saying, this is the path you are going to follow. We didn't know how or where it was going to lead us until Reverend Mark Vieira from North Hollywood was giving a seminar there one day. And we met him, and his enthusiasm was infectious. But he said to us, you must go to a Selimar.
Selimar. That's the next part of your book. So Lynn, tell us about a Selimar.
Oh my goodness.
What is a Selimar?
Well, a Selimar is where they hold they did hold the conference for the Centers of Spiritual Living. And it was a week conference in a
Centers of Spiritual Living is now a Science of Mind community, an expanded Science of Mind community, and their annual conference is there at Asilomar in California,
which is
right on the Pacific coast. Beautiful
place, a nature reserve. And when we were trying to book, the journey seemed horrendous, and we thought, how are we going to do this? And it's so expensive. But we looked at each other and we said, we don't care. We're going to do it. We're going to go. And so we did. And it opened up so many wonderful experiences. The shifts in consciousness that took place, the people that we met, the atmosphere, everything about it was just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And the icing on the cake was when we were asked to present what we did personally, and we gave a little 10-minute presentation, which they loved. And we were asked to offer a proposal to come back the following year to present our work at a Selimar. We were just like, we were awestruck. We just thought, wow, what an opportunity to come back, but to actually offer something here. We were absolutely humbled by it. But we did send up a proposal, which was accepted. And we returned the following year to actually present our workshops every afternoon for 2 weeks. It was
that must have been quite a accomplishment for you.
It was just literally out of this world. It was blissful. We just had such an exciting time and opened up greater experiences. An expansion of consciousness. We met so many wonderful people, attended so many fantastic lectures, and we wanted more, and we wanted more. And it was just the most wonderful part of our journey.
Thank you. I know that, while you were at Asilomar, you kept going back again, and as you say, you were invited back to give your gift, share your teachings and what you could give. And that brings great bliss, doesn't it? When we give our gift, even though we think, oh, maybe we're not so great, or maybe we're not so good at it. But yet that is not what Spirit asks us, right? Spirit says, give what you have, and it will be, and you will be supported. And that was the case. And then you had this experience of coming home, or I don't remember, David, maybe you can share with us this idea of, Asilomar is wonderful, but it's not in the UK. How can we bring this experience back to the UK?
Well, we had the invitations from Spirit were coming thick and fast, in a sense, and almost we hadn't time to catch our breath. As we said, Linda said, the first visit there, we suddenly found ourselves putting a proposal for a workshop, and We thought, but we're new, we're novices. We've barely got into these teachings. How could we do that? And the same thing happened again. Spirit said, yes, but if you're offered an opportunity from Spirit, you say yes. And then we set up our first study group. We wanted to come back to the UK to share with people some of the teachings and ideas. And we knew nobody who was interested. And again, Spirit put in our place, just so happened, serendipitously, a couple of Americans, a lovely couple who were in one of our workshops, came up to us at the end of the workshop and said, I hear you're thinking of starting a Science of Mind group in the UK. We said, yes. He said, we've just heard we're being transferred to London for 2 years in our work, and we'd love to connect with you. So before we'd had time to even blot the ink on the paper, we had our first 2 members, and they were lovely people, and they helped us set up the group with some new people that came along. And then we noticed that every time we went to a seminar, something special and magical seemed to happen. And it really was magical. We were sitting at dinner with all these reverends, Reverend Roger Julien and Mark Vieira, all these wonderfully learned, experienced people. And we said to them, do you know, we've had such an amazing time here at a seminar. We really need something like this in the UK. Somebody ought to do something. And there were 6 pairs of eyes staring at us, and there was silence. And one of them looked at us and said, well, you're somebody. Why don't you do it? And we laughed. We said, we have a study group with 6 people. We know nobody. We have no connections in the UK. It was a joke. And then one of the ministers said, well, I'll tell you what, if you can set something up, I'll come over and do a workshop for you. And Lin said, well, that would be fantastic. And then by the end of that evening, this was all in one evening, a musician had come over, Jamie Lula, and said, oh, I hear you're planning an event in the UK. I'd love to come and play some music for you. And then later on in the evening, another minister, Reverend Anthony Lord, that we just met, said, I hear you're planning this incredible event in the UK. I want to be there. And we thought, hold on, Spirit. We don't know what we're doing here, but something clicked, and we sat together in our room that night. We said, we don't know what's happening here, but we get a feeling that Spirit are working with us, and we're going to go with this. By the time we got back to the UK, the whole idea had evolved and generated itself, and within a matter of a week or 2, we were setting up for a weekend international conference. Another story how that all took shape, but we realized if you take the first step in faith, Spirit are there to follow on and give you what you need. But you have to be willing to take that leap of faith, which it was for us, an enormous leap of faith at that time.
Thank you. Yeah, that was. I want people to buy the book, so I want them to hear some of those stories as well. I mean, it's really an exciting story. And so I don't want to give it all away, but you did have an event, and it was, and the unfolding of the event is so beautifully told. So I'll let people read that for themselves and think of and see how magical it is. It is. You will be helped by hidden hands. The doors will open as you follow what Spirit has said for you. And this is, how do you feel that? Do you feel it inside, Lin? How do you know what Spirit wants you to do? I
feel it. I do really, really feel it. It's like a hunch. It's like a yes. It's like an inner yes. And I always feel a little excited about it. It gives me this little urge.
Tingle. Yes.
Yes. There's a shift. There's something going on, and I really, really feel it. So yeah, I do. I really feel it.
Thanks. I was, one of the parts of the book that I think is fascinating is the actual events. You had one event, and then you actually had a second event, right? A little bit larger. And at that one, I was able to attend. I had found out about it. I was beginning my ministry then, and said, oh, I have to go and connect with the people in the UK. And so I did go over to your second event, and it was amazing. It was fantastic. And what you have done in the book is you have actually given many of the workshops right here. And you have of recreated this event so beautifully, and the teaching of this science of mind, which has, as you said, I think, David, you said, it's what I always believed. I knew that, but here's a philosophy. Here's something that teaches that. And so I recognized it as something that I wanted to know more about, because that's what I believe. And so what is it that really about the teaching that do you think is the most important thing for you? What pulls you really into this teaching?
I tell you that the key to us is that it's practical and it's real. What inspired me most about learning Science of Mind was it's not, although a lot of the Science of Mind book was written 100 years ago, it's not stuck in the past, in the sense you can use the principles and the treatments and the affirmative prayer and the application of principles in your lives in everyday ways. And this is what really fired us and still does, to convey to people that this is a teaching that is relevant to everything. Not just something you go to a service on a Sunday or read a book about or watch a movie about, but something you can use in every situation. And people who've been working with us for years have discovered that, yes, you still have issues and challenges and problems to deal with in life, but you have an amazing tool to use, using the principle and using treatment and using positive thoughts and affirmations that can transform a situation. And what we always say to people is, you're basically reinterpreting your life experience from a completely different angle. So instead of looking at situations as a victim, the world out there and I'm here, and why is this happening to me and why is my life not working, to suddenly realizing that we have the power to change by shifting our beliefs. So this is what really, and this is something that Edward Vigeon in Geneva said, the one most important thing about Science of Mind, and that it will continue for the future, is that it's always relevant. And this is something that we sort of convey and teach and share with our students and our people here as well. It's
indeed, it is always relevant, and it is very simple in its heart. And it is this simple of this idea that what those thoughts and those beliefs that we carry around with us are what become our experience. If we want to change our experience, then we change our beliefs and we change those thoughts. And so this is what this broadcast is about. This is why we gather weekly to do this together and to support each other in this process. So you have a group that meets monthly that people can attend and come along to. And what is that called, that group?
It's New Thoughts Spiritual Living Group, Kings Langley, which is where we are, Hertfordshire, UK. And we are now the longest running active Science of Mind New Thought group in the UK. And I say we've been going, I can't believe it, 25 years in different ways, different people.
That deserves some kind of a kudos.
Silence, yes. And it's been really our lifeblood. And we are so passionate and precious about the subject that we so enjoy teaching and sharing. And then every now and again you get a letter or text from somebody who just said, you know what, David, Lynn, this teaching not only has changed my life, but I wouldn't be here without it. I've been through the struggles and the challenges. I couldn't have handled them without this understanding. And it suddenly realized, and something really deep down clicks, how profound that is, that if one person says that, you know that your work is worthwhile. And
indeed.
It magnifies it, of course it does.
Right. That is so well said, David. Thank you. If one person can say that, then everything that you do is so worthwhile. So how can they get in touch with you, David, if they want to find out more about your group? If someone's watching and says, oh, I want to find out more about this group.
Well, the simplest way is good old email, which is David Serlin, SERLIN, @outlook.com.
Okay, David Serlin, DAVID SERLIN @outlook.com.
So we're always happy. We run in-person groups for people who are geographically unchallenged and could get to physically once a month. And we also do occasional Zoom meetings, discussions and workshops for those who are sort of out of territory. And we're happy to really connect with anyone, even somebody who's completely new to the ideas. You don't have to be learned or read much about it, but if you're keen, enthusiastic and authentically interested, then we're available and open to that. So we're always willing and
Beautiful.
happy to
Thank
talk to
you.
people. Yeah.
Thank you. I think we'll bring this to a close very soon. But in closing, I did want to remind everyone, it's on Amazon. Buy the book because it's a great read, and there's so much good advice and so many good, and the whole teaching is right there in a very encapsulated, very good form. So very accessible. I guess that's a word that is around now, so we can use that to describe your book. And I do hope that everyone goes out and buys a copy. It's great. Thank you. And I'd like to close us now. Lynn, would you be willing to close us with a prayer? Or
Absolutely.
That would be wonderful. Thank you so much. And
So I invite you to close your eyes if that's comfortable for you, and take a breath. And now let's turn from the outer to the inner. Let's breathe into our heart space, and let's feel an inner expansion, an expansion of inner consciousness. And let's know that there is a powerful good, called by many names: God, the universe, creative intelligence, the divine source, that is in, through, and around each one of us. Always available. And all we have to do is to tune into it, to align ourselves with that power. It is the power that we can use in our daily life. It is love. It is peace. It is our inspiration. It is our guiding light. It is the power that shows us the way when we're lost. It inspires us to greater heights, to deeper depths. It is life itself, always available. So let's invite those invitations into our lives, those special opportunities for growth, for evolution, for new adventures that make life so exciting, so joyful. For I know that they are there for each one of us. That life is precious, life is sacred. We are individualized expressions of the divine. Life is holy. It is special. It is a wonderful experience for each of us to live fully and to fully express our own gifts in our own individual way, even though we are all connected to that one divine source, spirit, love, joy, for this is our life. So it is with deep gratitude for our time together today, for an expansion of our consciousness, for any inspiration or words that have touched us in any way. I'm so grateful for this. I'm so grateful for our time with Reverend Beth, who so wonderfully expresses spiritual principles for us to share and to learn about. For any books that inspire us, I am so grateful, because they all contribute to us realizing what a wonderful life we are living, and for the opportunities and invitations and signposts along the way. May we all be aware of them to enhance and enrich our lives. So I release this prayer with deep gratitude, knowing that as we plant these ideas in the fertile soil of mind, they express and bloom in the most beautiful ways as experiences in our lives. So let's say together, and so it is. And so
And so it is. And it is so. Thank you so much, both of you, for being here, for joining us, and for this amazing book, and for all the work you do. And do contact David. You do an online thing daily, and so many different things that are supportive of all of us on our spiritual journey. Thank you for joining me. Have a blessed day.
Thank you, Beth. God
thank
bless.
you, Reverend.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Peace.
Thanks for watching. Join us again next Wednesday for more of On Purpose with Reverend Beth Linguri, only on New Thought Media Network. Learn more at www.ntmedia.org.